Hey guys, how's it going? It's Crypto Lark from Wellington here. Today we're going to be doing our Bitcoin news roundup for the week, looking at what you can or perhaps shouldn't buy with your Bitcoin, what's going on with regulations around the world, and of course looking at some price predictions at the end of the video. Now make sure you do stick around until the end of the video because we'll be announcing last week's winner for the Bitcoin giveaway and announcing how you can get involved for the Bitcoin giveaway next week. Before we get into all that, a quick shout out to everybody who has been hitting that like button. Of course, everybody who has been subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much to everyone who has been subscribing and continues to support the channel. You guys make all of this possible. And of course, this is not professional financial advice, guys. Just a dude talking about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, $6,659.45. Down, of course, about $1,100 from last week's highs, where we saw it here at 7,700. Of course, good times for anybody who bought Bitcoin under $5,700 the other day during the Bcash drama. Market cap well above $100 billion again, only upwards from here. Unsurprisingly, looking over at the markets, Bitfinex continues to absolutely kill it. Those guys make so much money over at Bitfinex, and of course BitThumb as well, providing very substantial portions of the total volume of Bitcoin. And unsurprisingly, Korean won, Japanese yen, and Bitcoin Cash making up the majority of the volume for Bitcoin pairings. Over in New Zealand, somebody talked about us, woo! Over in New Zealand, Kiwi startup delivers Bitcoin to users on a subscription basis. This is mybitcoinsaver.com. Basically what you can do, you sign up with them, deposit $10 a week, $20 a week, $50 a week, whatever you want to do. They'll then convert that into Bitcoin once a week and start a savings account for you. There's a spot in the market for this without a doubt. You might say, okay, well, is it really that hard to sign up somewhere and get your Bitcoin? Okay, even here in New Zealand, we've got Cryptopia. You can use your New Zealand dollars to buy on Cryptopia. We have the New Zealand Bitcoin exchange. For a lot of people, it is a bit too much. And this actually makes it super effortless. You give them your money, they give you Bitcoin. Fantastic. Great savings account potential. They're filling a gap in the market, connecting people to Bitcoin. The more the merrier. I'm sure they'll make a lot of money with that business model. Over in the UK, challenger bank Revolut to offer one-click Bitcoin buying in-app. This, of course, is fantastic. Again, anything that makes buying Bitcoin even easier is better. They have about 1 million customers in the UK, by the way. Over in Australia, we continue to see acceptance and usage of Bitcoin growing. There has been an explosion of Bitcoin ATMs. If you're in Australia and you have seen a Bitcoin ATM or a BTM come to your neighborhood recently, post it in the comments section down below. I'd be interested to hear if you are seeing these come in to a neighborhood near you or not. Over in New York, a French restaurant has decided to ditch Visa and MasterCard, although they are still accepting Amex. However, they have switched over to Bitcoin from Visa and MasterCard. Now, of course, the other day when the network was all clogged up and it was a $90 fee to send Bitcoin, that may not have been the best move, but nevertheless, I think this is a positive move forward for a restaurant to come out and actually say, hey, we're ditching the credit card companies. I don't know if you guys know, but the credit card companies really take a lot of money from businesses. Cryptocurrencies offer a perfect avenue for disrupting these old companies. Commenters have reacted by saying, you're not taking Visa, who are you hoping to market to? Business people and millennials with Bitcoin. Oh, those millennials and their Bitcoin. It's funny, actually. Looking at the analytics of my videos, yes, the majority of my viewers are millennials. However, that's a slim majority. I have a lot of people watching my videos who are in their 50s, 60s, 70s. I have people watching my videos who are 16, 17. It's everybody. And people who don't understand that everybody is getting involved in Bitcoin don't quite get it, but that's okay. They can keep using Visa and MasterCard. Over in the UK, a Papa John's is now accepting Bitcoin for their pizza. Of course, as soon as this came out, everybody said, what about the guy who paid 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas 7 years ago? Well, there was that guy that's a $65 million pizza now. Well, okay. $32.5 million a pizza. But who's counting? Now look, I don't know about running out and buying some pizza with my Bitcoin. Maybe, why not? But I personally would rather buy a medieval palace in Spain, recently come on the market for 1,850 Bitcoin. Seems like a pretty nice deal. You get the whole top of the hill, basically, overlooking the port in Ibiza. Not a bad deal. Of course, nice, modern, as you would expect for nearly $13 million. But of course, who cares about the dollar value? It's 1,850 Bitcoin. That, of course, may turn out to be a very expensive piece of property in the long run. Interesting to see that we continue to see these stories hit all the time about people trading their property for Bitcoin, because unless you have property in a really prime location in an undervalued market, maybe in the center of Auckland, New Zealand, for example, or in the center of Hong Kong, Bitcoin, amazing investment. Even if you have a property in one of those places, chances are your Bitcoin is going to way outgrow that anyway. Still, you could have had 5 of these castles for the price of 2 pizzas. That is the growth of Bitcoin. Interesting. Over in Zimbabwe, the hyperinflation in Zimbabwe and the continued troubles of the Zimbabwean economy are driving people more and more, of course, to cryptocurrencies, other assets as well. People are buying cars and properties at a high rate, but really the Bitcoin market is the fascinating thing, because Zimbabweans are paying more for Bitcoin than anyone else in the world. We've covered this story different times before. This is just the latest update. Somebody in Harare paid $13,900 for a Bitcoin. Holy cow. Huge. Of course, still a good investment. Considering what Bitcoin might be worth in a few years, still a good investment. Over in Canada, scammers have got 340,000 Canadian dollars worth of Bitcoin. The scam went like this. They called people, said they're from the Canadian Tax Revenue Agency, that they have unpaid taxes. You're going to be in big trouble if you don't go to a Bitcoin ATM and pay your taxes. Unfortunately, people fell for this. I know they say there's a sucker born every day, but ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Look, you have to be careful with these online scams. With any scams, scams have been going on forever, and they will continue to hit people. It's nothing original. It's just perhaps that it was a Bitcoin-related scam. If you ever find yourself in a situation where there's an investment you want to make, or you have some situation like this happen, go tell a friend about it. Go say, hey, you know, I got this phone call yesterday. Think that's legitimate? I don't know. Let's call the Canada Revenue Agency and ask them. Be careful out there, guys. Over in China, Bitcoin proves hard to kill. Long live Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin is digital money. And yes, China can shut down exchanges, and yes, China can regulate their butts off, but they can't actually stop peer-to-peer trades, no matter how hard they might like to try to do that, which is the beauty of cryptocurrency. They can't control it. Even when they try to control it, they can't control it. They make it harder. But what's happening in China now as a result? Over the counter. People are going to back alley places and handing over a pile of money and buying Bitcoin. This is what's happening now in China. And of course, we are still seeing peer-to-peer trading on different chat sites, for example. Yes, recent regulations did come out in China where they said, as a moderator of any chat site, you'll be held accountable for any bad stuff that goes on. So that's a tricky situation. But you can't really stop the guys, you know, the guy with his coat. Hey, yo kid, you want to buy some Bitcoin? Yeah, right here, man. You can't stop that. That's always going to go on. It makes it harder for people in China, obviously, to a massive degree. It really slows mainstream adoption in China, but China hasn't stopped. Chinese money hasn't stopped. They're big investors in China. They just go to Hong Kong. They hop on a plane if they need to. There's plenty of ways to get around what is going on right now in China for the smart money. Over in Nigeria, the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation came out and said that Bitcoin is not legal tender in Nigeria. This, of course, follows on many other stories that we've covered recently about central banks or arms thereof coming out and saying, by the way, not legal money in our country, although you still can own it and trade it as an asset. Over in India, similar story. India's central bank shutting the door on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as a form of payment. This has not restricted people from still being able to buy and hold it as an asset. And over in Portugal, Board of Directors member Helder Rosalino, Bitcoin is not a currency. And he says that the Central Bank of Portugal has a similar position. Again, we see a lot of different countries coming out and parroting this exact line. Central bankers all over the world seem to have received a memorandum saying, this is what you need to come out and say about Bitcoin. Although there are a few countries that are getting it right. Japan, of course, being the #1 that is absolutely killing it when it comes to this. Japanese city attracts cryptocurrency miners with abundant renewable energy. Great. This, of course, is on the back of many other stories similar to this in Japan. Different power companies, for example, offering cheap energy for miners. And, of course, the whole regulatory framework and overall attitude towards Bitcoin in Japan has been one of extreme positivity. They made the absolute right decision at the right time. They got in ahead of other countries, said, you know what? We're going for legalization. We're going for regulation. Let's do Bitcoin. China went the opposite direction. And now, of course, Japan is the world leader in Bitcoin. Korea's pretty close behind them, though. Moving on. In America, unsurprisingly, most millennials have heard of Bitcoin. I'm not surprised by this information. I'm just surprised that most of everybody hasn't heard of Bitcoin. But at the same time, that makes me happy because it's still time to buy that cheap Bitcoin. You might think, Lark, Bitcoin's at like $6,600 today. That's not really cheap. Well, it's all a matter of perspective. If we try to think where it's going and how it's going, big potential ahead. Tim Draper, of course, Bitcoin is not in a bubble. $213 million stake. Now, Tim Draper famously bought 30,000 Bitcoins from the US government at $600 a piece back in 2014. Amazing investment. And of course, he has done very well off of hodling those Bitcoin. Well done to you, Mr. Draper. Ex-Fortress executive Novogratz sees big institutional money coming into Bitcoin in the next 6 to 8 months. Now look, institutional players are already getting involved on a smaller scale. Goldman Sachs, for example, they've been commenting on Bitcoin. They're looking at Bitcoin. Different institutions are starting to mine Bitcoin. Different companies are being set up to mine Bitcoin, to trade Bitcoin. We're seeing Bitcoin futures coming. All of it's happening. We're on that express route to big adoption. When the mainstream investors come in, the big institutional investors, that's when we see massive price action. It's not too late at all. And of course, Mark Yusko, confident Bitcoin can reach a value of $800,000. I agree. if you think 10 times growth from now would give Bitcoin a $1 trillion market cap, that doesn't at all seem fantastical to me. And that would give us a $65,000 Bitcoin. We're not even talking about 10 years from now, 5 years from now, how much Bitcoin might be worth. Buying Bitcoin now at $6,600 will seem like a steal in a year. Speaking of hodling onto your Bitcoin, it is time to choose the winner from last week. If you want to be in to win $50 worth of Bitcoin next week, make sure you put your address down below in the comment section. And of course, don't forget to throw a like on this video or share it with your friends. Who will this week's winner be? Let's randomly pick a winner here. Classic Scott. Good work, my friend. Read free Bitcoin, immediately thought, free all the Bitcoin. Let Bitcoin run free through all our economic and transactive processes and institutions. I want to live in a land where the Bitcoin roam free. Free to graze and trample all the centralized institutions we all loathe so much. Anyway, hopefully we all see this world come into existence soon. And as you say, long live the blockchain. Classic Scott. That's amazing. I love that. Great comment. Congratulations on winning. If you want to be in to win next week, pop that address down below, guys. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.